Wow, that's powerful. Pamela Taylor, thank you for joining us here on Win TV. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. How are you doing today?
I'm great. It's Friday.
Yes.
But at any rate, tell us about Share Our Strength and what's its mission. And I mean, that video with Trap Bob was really powerful, but particularly to hear the voice of children. So tell us about Share Our Strength.
Sure. Share Our Strength is an organization that's been around since 1984. We are a national organization. Our mission is to end poverty and hunger in the US and abroad. No easy feat, but we are working hard towards that mission. Here in the US, we're focused on our No Kid Hungry campaign, which is about childhood hunger and ending childhood hunger. And we've been doing that work now for about 10 or 11 years.
When we talk about childhood hunger, can you paint a picture for us about, what the need is? We hear a lot of stories, and COVID has been, really brought it front and center because we know schools have been the places where children often get that breakfast, that lunch, and if they're in after-school program, sometimes that dinner. And some of those programs are being threatened right now. So, but what is the need?
So let's start with the need. The need has been so high and so great for so many years, but just like you said, Denise, the coronavirus pandemic really exacerbated how many people were just maybe one paycheck away from being hungry or facing food insecurity. And then when the schools closed because of the pandemic, where so many children, like you just mentioned, got their meals mostly every single day, breakfast, lunch, sometimes an after school meal, or even dinner. Part of the work that we do through the No Kid Hungry campaign is just that. We provide grants to schools and school districts and community-based organizations all across the country, including here in Washington, D.C., to make sure children get 3 healthy meals a day.
How were the cities selected? How did you determine where what cities you were going to support programs in?
So for our regular programming, we support more than 3,000 cities across the country. Yeah. But for this particular campaign, for which that video is a part of, our rebuilding campaign was focused on 5 cities here in DC, Atlanta, LA, Detroit, and Queens. We selected those cities because the schools and community-based organizations in those locations pivoted and reacted within hours and days in some sense to figure out how do we get kids fed, kids that were coming into our school buildings every single day, coming to our organizations every single day to get meals. They're not here anymore because we're not open. So here in DC, I love the story that the documentary tells about our partner with DC Central Kitchen. Not only do they make sure that children get fed and people get access to the food that they need, but the people that work there, they are the ones that used to be facing hunger. And so they're rebuilding their lives by working at DC Central Kitchen. So this video tells really a comprehensive story of those that are in need and how DC Central Kitchen and the No Kid Hungry campaign are working together to make sure folks have access to food, especially during the crisis. And then it tells a beautiful story of people who have been rebuilding their lives because of this organization.
Interesting. How are you all funded? How do you all get the resources that you need to help other organizations and cities across the country?
We have an incredible amount of corporate partners that have been so generous to our organization. Individuals who donate anywhere from $5 to millions of dollars. We receive support from foundations. The money comes from so many different places. And I have to say, during the pandemic last year, organizations and corporations and individuals that had never given us a dime called to say, how much do you need? What can we do? We see the work that your dollars are doing all across the country, and we want to be able to help. The humanity of America showed up in incredible ways last year to make sure we had the funds that we needed to distribute. From March of 2020 through just this week, we have issued $98.8 million in grants across the country to make sure kids and families can get the food they need.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's a great success story, if you can call it success, at a time when we're talking about feeding, an everyday need of people needing food to eat, and particularly children. And in this initiative, it looks like, you have the artist that we saw was Trap Bob. We know her work very well, but I'm curious about what was it about her that you decided, or the organization decided, to use her as pretty much a spokesperson?
So, as you mentioned, Trap Bob is an amazing artist, and she has done some beautiful work. We wanted someone who knew the city, who felt the city, who was of the city, and who could connect with children. And Trap Bob is so wonderful at doing that. The mural that she's painted for us is in Adams Morgan, and she listened to kids, she talked to them, and she heard their feelings of what they experienced during the pandemic and really what they're hoping for, what their inspiration is. And she was able to capture that in the beautiful mural that she painted for us.
That's wonderful. One of the things that I noticed in the cities that you selected, all of them have pretty large Black and brown populations. And I'm wondering if this means, again, going back to why those cities were selected, and also how this program may evolve into ways in which families, if even on limited income, can, I guess, grow in supporting. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to get to your Cooking Matters program, because that's one of the things that sometimes you wonder. I mean, kids are getting meals, but those weekends, are times when the programs may not be operating, and they're home and they still need food. So is Cooking Matters, is that something that was created to address the problem when no kids, food for kids, is not available?
So Cooking Matters is another program under Share Our Strength within our organization. And you are exactly right. So hunger faces, about 1 in 6 children are facing hunger right now. And we do everything we can to make sure during the school day and during the school week, kids get access to those meals. But just like you said, on the weekends, then what happens? So Cooking Matters is our nutrition education program. And what we do during Cooking Matters is not only help families come together to cook meals together, to learn how to prepare healthy meals, but we also talk about financials, budgeting, what to look for in the grocery store so that you can stretch your dollars, because we're all trying to stretch our dollars every single month. And finding ways to prepare meals that are within a budget, that are healthy, that kids like, because no one wants to spend their money on food that their kids are not going to eat. So that's part of what the Cooking Matters program does. We do grocery store tours to help people understand the importance of shopping the perimeter. The perimeter is where you find the produce section and fresh foods. And, in the middle is where the fun stuff is, but we don't always want to spend our money there. And the Cooking Matters program has been around for about 15 years, and it is still going strong. That's another program that we had to adjust during the pandemic, because we used to do in-person cooking classes and we weren't able to do those anymore. So there are a lot of videos and instructional videos and recipes on our Cooking Matters website if people were still not getting out into restaurants as much as we'd like, and the fall and winter are coming and we all kind of hunker down and want to cook more foods then. So please visit our Cooking Matters website to get information that you might need there.
Can we get the website information? We want to post that for our viewers, as well as your website for Share Our Strength?
Yes, so I will share all of those with you.
Okay.
NoKidHungry.org is on the screen, /rebuild. That's where you can learn more about our rebuild campaign, the 5 murals across the country that we've done. And like I said, here in DC, Atlanta, LA, Detroit, and Queens. We have beautiful, powerful mini documentaries. They're about 5 or 6 minutes each. And I encourage folks to take a look at those to see the incredible work that was done by school districts to get food to kids during the pandemic last year while the schools were closed. We're still rebuilding. So there's a lot that folks can do. If you visit nokidhungry.org, you can find more information. You can also go to cookingmatters.org, which is the site for our nutrition education program. There are recipes, there's instructional videos, there's a lot of helpful tools and resources there. Like I said, as we prepare to go into this fall and winter months and folks are getting ready to be inside and it's getting dark sooner and all of those things. And we all tend to want to cook a little bit more when it's cold for some reason. But the important thing for what No Kid Hungry is doing is making sure kids get 3 healthy meals a day. Hunger is a huge problem, but it is also a solvable problem. Back in 2018, 2019, we started to see the lowest rates of childhood hunger across the country. And those increases and improvements were wiped out by the pandemic. So we're working hard to rebuild and get back to where we were before the pandemic. And all of you are great supporters. And those of you who are new to the No Kid Hungry organization and campaign, we would love to have you visit our website, learn more about us, and support our work.
Pamela, this is really fantastic. And I'm glad you could take some time to spend with us today and to share this program with our viewers. And I'm sure that we often look at our children in our communities and hope that they have a great meal, but need to know where to maybe tell their parents or, and I know we are going to probably have to end this conversation, but the thing that really does, a lot of kids are pretty much on their own. So if they, don't have someone to lead them to a program, like DC, the program that you're supporting here in the District of Columbia, can children just walk in on their own? I mean, how is that communicated to them? Because
you're exactly right. So many children and families want to know where can they go to get food if they need it. So a couple of things. You can go to our website and look at our free meal finder map. Put in your zip code, put in your address, and it will tell you right in your community where there are places where you can go to find meal distribution centers. The other thing is you can always text 877-877. Same thing, put in your zip code and you will receive a text where there are food and meal distribution centers right in your zip code, neighborhood, and community. We want to make sure everybody knows where they can go to access food. And that's not just right here in DC. So for those of you who are listening outside of the DMV, the free meal finder map works all over the country. And the same with our texting line, 877-877.
I got you. Okay. Well, we're going to follow up on this with a story in the Washington Informer. Our reporter, Natalie Hockaday, will probably be contacting you as well, because I am, just really concerned about a lot of the kids that are out here, like I said, on their own, hungry, no real parental support. We're talking about what's happening in our communities. And, we'll probably do so much better if they just knew a place where they could go and be fed. So thank you so much for sharing this program with us. And we look to learn more and find ways that we can help to support as well.
Excellent. I appreciate you giving the time for me to talk about some of our work. I would be delighted to come back. There's so much more I can share. Resources for families. We're watching Capitol Hill right now, the child tax credit, which is another incredible resource that's available to families. We're working hard to make sure that gets extended. So let's find some time. I'll come back and talk more about that and some of the other ways that families can find access and resources to help them make sure that they and their children are not going hungry.
Fantastic. Let's do it. Thanks, Pamela.